Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Saturday, October the 5th, race number 10 at Keeneland. Nice prep for the Breeders' Cup Mile. It's the Grade 1, $1 million Shadwell Turf Mile, a big, full field of classy horses. Before we get to the analysis, I do want to remind you, get those Keeneland Clocker reports. They are a perfect complement to your DRFPPs. Analyze first-time starters, European invaders, and especially these horses as they prep for the preps for the Breeders' Cup. Morning workout analysis from Mike Welsh and his team, drf.com/clocker. Here's the field for the Grade 1 Shadwell Turf Mile. Remember that you can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. This is a big field with some talented horses. Morning line favorites 5-1. That basically says it all. The 4 valid points 5-1, undefeated for Chad Brown. I want to look at the Timeform US pace projector after we scroll through this field. Take a look at Sway Dubois, I believe a past winner of this race. Timeform US's pace projector has the 12 on the lead. Now, that's not how Sway Dubois is going to run. I think that means that this race is lacking pace. I think that's a good sign for the 14-reel story.
Yeah, that pace projector with Sudois on the lead feels like a guess to me. Maybe that just means there's no speed at all.
There were some fast fractions in that mile, Breeders' Cup mile.
Here's what I know, though. I know that Real Story has real speed. He's got a terrible post on the outside. I guess that means Joe Bravo's got to come out of there running and just see what kind of position he can get, and maybe that position is right on the lead.
Let's talk about this field in post position order, and we'll begin with the defending champion. Next Chair's pulled off a 23-1 win in this race last year. Now, he beat Great White Open. He beat Carebon. This looks like a tougher edition of the Shadwell Turf Mile. And this year, he just hasn't come back as sharp. Do you have excuses for this horse?
No, I don't. You know, it's interesting because when you go back and look at it, his Tourist Mile last time, I don't think he ran poorly at all in there. You know, if you just look at the short comment, lacked room stretch, I guess that would give you sort of an indication that maybe he had an excuse. I don't know about you, Dan, but I didn't see it that way. He was in a little bit of traffic, in and among horses in the upper stretch. I don't know. I thought he had room down there late and just didn't have enough horse, but we'll see.
Aidan O'Brien as the 2 Von Beethoven Group 2 winner as a 2-year-old in Ireland, kind of an in and outer overseas, but ran a good second in the Secretariat. Secretariat kind of came back a little bit slow. Valid Point, the horse that beat him, just seemingly has a lot more upside than this horse.
Yeah, that's true. Valid Point at this stage of the game looks like he could just be anything. That being said, I actually felt like this horse ran really well in the Secretariat. He got bumped at the start, he was last, and he couldn't get out to the clear in the stretch until Valid Point got by him to the lead. Then he got outside. I thought he finished well. He was only second best. I still think he ran a good race that day.
Bandois, the 3 we have in mid-pack, he's about 5th in your Timeform US pace projector. With an aggressive ride, he can get closer to the pace. This is a very underrated horse. I thought he ran okay in the Manhattan, beaten 4 lengths by Bricks and Mortar. He was much the best in that Arlington handicap as the favorite. It was a race he should have won. He won very easily. And then the Arlington Million, I thought he ran well again. They put him on the front. They backed down the pace. Listen, no one's beating Bricks and Mortar right now. And Magic Wand's a very, very talented mare. Bandois fits here, but do you think he needs more distance?
I mean, it's the real question. Is he going to be as good at a mile as he is going longer? Because as it turns out, he's pretty good going long. He's run some really nice races. It's just interesting when you start going through his PPs. I mean, they've never run him short on turf in any of his races. Like, they always want at least 10 furlongs for him. So we'll see if he's as effective going a mile.
Valid Point's done nothing wrong. Perfect 3 for 3 for trainer Chad Brown. Now he's going to take on older horses for the first time. He won the Secretariat last time out, paired up 90 Beyer tops. We were at the track 2 starts back at Belmont, very curious to see what he was going to do because we were taken with his debut at Gulfstream. He won that race very easily. This is a nice horse. Taking on older horses is the favorite. I'm not sure I want him, but then again, what does being the favorite mean in this race? I don't know if it's 5-1, but it could be 4.
Yeah, I don't know what price he's going to be. I don't know how short I'd be willing to go on him, but I also know that I don't know where his ceiling is yet. He hasn't really gotten down to serious business yet in any of his races. I thought he was really impressive winning that Grade 1 last time. Now he steps up.
Bowie's Hero is a Grade 1 winner at a mile. He took the Kilroe in 2018. Got a win in the Eddie Reed 2 starts back, going a mile and an eighth. And I think that was always a question of, could he get a mile and an eighth? He turned back to a mile last time out. That Prince Earl, I think, is a pretty decent prospect that beat him. What did you think of that race?
I feel like he was really unlucky in that race. Not only did he get bumped at the start, but he just, he was going for a split in the stretch and he didn't get it. I'm not suggesting he was necessarily going to win. but he was certainly badly compromised, I thought. I'll give him credit for winning at 9 furlongs, 2 back. I didn't love the Eddie Reed as a race overall, but that might be a distance that he doesn't really love, and he didn't really have any chance in the Shoemaker either with Bola Wire in that field. I think he's a contender in this race.
I agree. I think you can make excuses for the Del Mar Mile. You mentioned the trouble. Excuses for the Shoemaker Mile, wired against Bolo, wide, trying to come from out of it. And of course, the San Francisco Mile was just a prep to get things started off the long layoff. Admission Office is the number 6. I really liked his effort in the Dixie Stakes 2 starts back. He was last on the rail turning into the stretch. He eased out, then he had to alter course back to the inside, and he was running late. And it took a really talented horse in Catholic Boy to beat him. I was looking forward to see what he would do in the Wise Dan last time out. He was the favorite, and he ran well again. He is a prime contender, but he's going to need a little bit of pace.
Yeah, he is going to need a little pace. We'll see how it all plays out for him. This horse, I thought, ran really well. I know it was only an allowance race here at Keeneland off the layoff, but I thought he ran well in that race. He made a game-wide run around the turn and then prevailed. You mentioned his race against Catholic Boy in the Dixie. I thought he ran well that day. Last time, Dan, I'm not so sure he wasn't going to win that race. As the favorite, couldn't get off the inside. You could see Rosario trying to get out in the upper stretch. He got bumped, was forced back to the inside, was really finishing well late in that race, but it was too late. I think he's a contender in here.
8-1, a very square price on the 6 Admission Office. Looks like the 7 Diamond Oops is going to run here. Now, he just split the 2 best sprinters in the country, Imperial Hint and Matoli, in the Grade 1 Alfred G. Vanderbilt. He would be one of the logical choices in the Phoenix on Friday. You actually picked him to win in this race, but it appears Pat Biancone's going to return this horse to turf for this spot, and I don't know if it's turf. I guess turf is okay, but the distance is a big question.
Yeah, we'll see about the mile. You know, his turf races actually aren't bad, so I guess we'll see what happens. I actually preferred him in the dirt race. I just feel like this might be a tougher spot for him, but we'll see what happens.
Vintager is the number 8, going out for Charlie Appleby and Godolphin. This is a horse that was just kind of a handicapper last year into the beginning of this year. And the light bulb came on 2 starts back at Chantilly, where he won a Group 3 race. Now, I don't think it was the strongest Group 3 race in the world, but he did it well enough, and Appleby's a master at finding spots. Yeah. I think he realized Group 2s and Group 1s for Vintager overseas, not so great, unless you can find one in Germany, which is what he did right here. He's the Godolphin horse. He actually made the lead kind of early here at about the 2.5 furlong pole turning into the straight. He's going to drift down towards the inside. That's one of the local horses on the outside. Vintager's getting tired. Maybe he moved early. He has improved in his last 2 races. I think there's no doubt about that. The Lasix is on. You got to respect this trainer.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it feels like maybe just going a little bit shorter has really worked for him. He's now won 3 in a row over a flat mile. Going the longer distances, 9 and 10 furlongs in between, it just feels like maybe he didn't want to go that far. So I respect him at a mile. I do think in each of his last 2 starts, personally, I felt like he got great trips both times and managed to get it done. So I didn't love him, but he's 10-1 on the morning line.
10-1 on the morning line, and here's a formulator fact for Appleby. Past 2 years, horses shipping from Europe to North America, 4 for $10, $4.52 return on investment. He doesn't seem like the kind of horse that needs to be outrun as well. Yeah. We've seen him in even a couple of his losses overseas, where he ran 3rd in that Spring Lodge Stakes. He was right up close to the pace. Let's talk about First Premio, a horse that can get a trip. And that's the thing you like about this horse. He's so tactical. When he won the Colonel E.R. Bradley, he got the perfect in-out trip. When he won that allowance race at Keeneland over the spring meet, key that he's won at Keeneland, he got that perfect in-out trip. Last time out in the Tourist Mile, he was running okay at the end of that race. We're going to take a look at it right now. Real Story is on the lead. First Premio is going to come with his run. Kind of a bunched up finish at the wire. I think that this First Premio is a nice horse. Again, not sure Grade 1 class.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm actually a fan of this horse. I just don't know if I like him in races like this. And going back to that Tourist Mile we just looked at, I thought Real Story ran better than he did, right up there on a quick pace. And Snapper Sinclair had a ton of trouble early in that race and still ran him down. I thought that was a little disappointing. The
10 Robin of Navan has just had a nice career overseas. I believe he was a Group 1 winner as a 2-year-old. He was 2nd in the prestigious Prix d'Ispahan in 2017, and he won a Group 2 in Germany last time out. I'm not sure he's the same horse that was really tearing it up a couple of years ago, and he just seemed like he was always in the mix in these major races. They're taking a shot here. 10-1, I would need more.
Yeah, I think I would need more too. He's, a very consistent and a very likable horse.
March to the Arch is a horse you've always liked, and he ran fine in the 4-star Dave 2 starts back. He was another horse that tried to take advantage of that fast pace. He saved ground, eased out, just flattened out a little bit late. He hated the soft turf, I think, last time.
Yeah, last time I think that really compromised him. Even 3 starts back when he caught that yielding ground. He didn't run poorly in that race. I thought it was a game try, just wasn't quite good enough. I think he might be a cut below the really top grade 1 horses, but listen, it's not like this is a stellar field.
Sway Dois won this race in 2017, coming in from Europe, then was a good 4th behind World Approval in the Breeders' Cup Mile. He has been banging on in Europe. 10 seconds, 11 thirds lifetime, a win 2 starts back, going the 7. We know he likes Keeneland. I think he's coming into this race the right way. Something tells me he's going to take some money.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do in here. I don't think he's out of this by any stretch of the imagination. He's only 1 for 8 this year, but they've been keeping him busy. He's been hitting the board in some big races. He's not out of this.
Rumors of Divisadero's demise, perhaps greatly exaggerated, as we're going to see in his win in the Grade 3 Red Bank last time out. This is Divisadero. He doesn't have a lot of speed. He comes with a run, and he's just better than these horses, and he can still pop a 97 Beyer speed figure. Now, while he prefers the Churchill Downs turf course to Keeneland, he fires when you give him some pace. You really never want to underestimate this horse, and he's got to be a good price here.
Yeah, that's all true enough, Dan. I underestimated him last time. I thought maybe he was over the hill. I bet some ridiculous horse in that race who was nowhere. Divisadero got it done. Listen, I have no problem seeing a horse like him win. I've always been a fan. If you give him some pace, he'll come running at the end.
You and I both disagree with the pace projector. You and I also disagree with who's going to make the. I think Real Story's making the front. I think Joe Bravo's going to say, listen, I'm post 14. I've got to go. I've got speed. I think they'll give it to me. We saw him in the Tourist Mile. Okay, he blew a clear lead. He also went pretty fast in the early portion of that race. He has done some good things in the past. If he gets loose at a big price, Real Story might be the real story of this race.
Yeah, I'm using him. If he had a better post, he wasn't drawn all the way outside, I would have picked him on top in this race. I'm a huge fan of his. Listen, maybe it won't matter. There's not a ton of speed in here. It doesn't seem like maybe Bravo will just send and he'll clear. I thought he ran really well in the Tourist last time. I think Bravo went for home with about, 3/8 of a mile still to go. He opened up a big lead. He just failed to last. I thought he ran great. I'm a big fan of this horse.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Shadwell Turf Mile. I like your horse Admission Office a lot. I am using a lot of him in this race. I'm going to take a chance with the Stranger Vintager, kind of just a trainer play. I love how Appleby places his horses. I like, as you mentioned, the improvement shown since cutting back to a mile. I think he's going to run well with Lasix. If he stays at that 10-1, I think that's a fair price. I went 8-6.
Yeah, I put Admission Office on top. I'm just hoping he gets a clean trip in this race. I felt like he'd be an okay price. Again, I like the horse on the outside, Real Story. I'm going to use him for sure. I went 6 and 14 as my top 2. Valid point. I'm going to use the Chad horse. I just wouldn't take a short price on him, and I'll throw Bowie's Hero in too. 6, 14, 4, and 5.
Grade 1 Shadwell Turf Mile, $1 million purse. It's your Saturday DRF race of the day, and it has an approximate post of 6:15 Eastern. Good luck.